not say word. GM to YouTube. GM. Okay. Today, I am doing a shadow rebuild guide. So this is going to be super useful if you're going for your first Fang kit. And this setup is going to work extremely well and get it for you without flicking, completely brain off, very little effort required. So if you're after your first Fang kit, very helpful. If you're looking to make money with your newly acquired shadow, this will also help you because 500s have become much easier post-update and much more doable. You can grind them for money. So what we have, Giga Bare Bones Shadow Rebuild. When you do a Shadow Rebuild, you want full Ancestral. You want everything. Within ToA, I've seen people ask me, like, is Virtus okay? Every tier of armor we go down, okay? So if we go the Ancestral down a tier down to Virtus, it is 5 max hits. So Virtus is a loss of 5 max hits on your main primary weapon you're using through the whole raid. If you go down to Arims, 10 total max hits. 10. Your mage gear in ToA matters a lot. So I would not do a Shadow Rebuild if you cannot also afford the Ancestral. So that's the expectation. Now, the rest of what I have is garbage, okay? I'm assuming, like, you just spent every last nickel, you liquidated everything down, right? You spent everything on that shadow. You can afford this. Like, this is the bare minimum you have left. We've got a Fang, we have Mixed Hide, Face Guard, Dragon Boots, regular Barrows Gloves even, which is nice for hybrid. You don't need gloves for your range switch now. And Light Bear. Very, very cheap. The most expensive thing besides the shadow is a Void Waker. So we want a Void Waker very badly because you need a DPS spec to make time, which is also going to be important. We'll get into the invos in a second, but first I want to talk about gear. With a shadow, you are going to be maging Zebak, Akkha the entire time, P1, most of P2, P3, and P4. Almost the entire raid we're shadowing, right? Almost the entire raid. Vast majority of your DPS is shadow. The rest is Fang, mostly. The rest of what you're doing is Fang. We're going to be Fanging Baba. We're going to be Fanging Kephri. We're going to be Fanging a tiny bit of Akkha, like the last bit of Akkha. We've optimized for that. Like, what is the point of this weird gear? So if you haven't seen the other ToA guide, the old one, we use Mixed Hide there as well. Mixed Hide is a great option. And the reason we're not using a Bofa is because we just don't need it. Bofa has no use. Like, there's nothing we're using it on except for P2. Like, you can afford to spend nothing on your range switch and use less switches, and it doesn't matter. So what we're doing is we're doing a hybrid. Mixed Hide gear has strength bonus, stab bonus, which is good for your Fang, and then it has range bonus. It's a little worse than Black D-Hide, I think. It's just slightly worse. So effectively, for that singular phase of P2, we're going to be using a blowpipe with this hybrid gear. So my range switch is this. And if you don't have a quiver, you don't need it. I'm using it because I'm expecting, like, by this point, you have a bit of money. Maybe you've started going for your, achievement capes, stuff like that, assuming you're going for it. You don't need an Inferno cape. You don't need a quiver. I'm just assuming by this point you might have it. So that's the idea with this setup. We're mostly using Shadow, and I have bare minimum for melee and for ranged. Upgrades you can bring, things like Prims, Feros with a ZVAM switch, Torva helmet, that kind of thing, things that boost your melee. When you're better, a Rancor, these things are all going to make it a bit faster, but they're not a huge deal. Like, they're all very minor in the grand scheme because the majority of your DPS through the raid is Shadow. Like, that's all that really matters, is that your Shadow is shooting things. Other weird item in the inventory. What the hell is this? You might not have even known what this is. This is a Circle. Why are we bringing a Circle? Circle is kind of like a Bone Dagger, but for magic, okay? So it drains bosses' mage level. This is really good because we're maging a lot of bosses. It's really strong on Zebak. It's around a 20-second time save on Zebak to spec him with this on average. If you hit really high, it's going to be even more than that. If you hit less, unlucky. Circle is 100% spec. You throw it on, it ignores everything you're wearing and anything you're praying. Doesn't matter what you're doing. So it's a super, super weird, outdated spec. So we're going to walk into Zebak and we're literally going to have this gear on. It doesn't matter what you're praying. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't hit any harder. The better your gear is, it doesn't do anything. We're going to spec Zebak with it and hope we hit decent. It saves a little bit of time. It's a nice item. We have so much sand for you that we can afford to bring it. This is a Surge Potion. You don't need this for the raid either. It's just kind of nice if you have them lying around. If you've sent some Yama, if you have them lying around, they're very cheap to make. If you're on an iron, they're pretty easy to get a hold of in bulk because Yama drops a lot of them. Surge Pot just gives you 25% spec, and you can only drink a dose every 5 minutes. You're doing a 500, you get to use the whole potion. It's like a rare thing where the whole slot gets used. So they're kind of nice. I just basically am using it for extra Void Waker DPS. You get to Void Waker a bit more. You get to back up BGS a bit more. Kind of nice. And again, Doesn't matter because we have so many slots. I'm not going to flick it all through this entire run. I'm literally not going to flick and we'll be totally fine. Other nice thing is prayer regen. Prayer regen is the same as 2 of these potions in 1 slot. It slowly gives you prayer over time. Really, really nice. Don't need that either though, because we have plenty of prayer. A little bit of offensive flicking and you'll have like, I did a test run and I flicked like this much and I had 4 restore left over at the end. So like you use nothing. The big reason I use nothing besides having so much is I'm using this prayer instead of this prayer. Why? Why, Gnomonkey? The yellow piss pyramid is excellent. I'd highly, highly recommend if you're doing a Bofa or a shadow rebuild to go get it from Royal Titans. It's fairly common and easy to get. I think it's a 1 in 100 or something like that. It's a very high drop rate. So like it's very easy to go grab it. Why would I use this over augury? Isn't augury better? No, not here. We're using a light bearer and I'm going to get into why we're using a light bearer, not magus in a second. We're using a light bearer, which means in max mage without magus, this is the same max it as this. But Gnomonkey, this is slightly more accurate. It is. It's like under 0.5% more DPS. Do you know how much more prayer drain the purple pyramid is over the piss pyramid? 2 times. 2 times more for under 0.5% DPS. We don't use it. We don't use it. Go grab the piss pyramid. It's worth it. It's super, super good for these. Like, I'd rather camp this any day. That tiny, tiny DPS is irrelevant to me. I don't care about that. Why not a Cursed Scepter over Circle? Great question. It drains more on average, except for the fact that it doesn't land. It's a 25% accuracy on Zebak, so it never ever lands. It's impossible to land it. Circle is a guaranteed hit, so Circle drains more on average. It's better. And it also costs nothing, which is nice, and is very easy to get. We're bringing a DDS. This is for the core on P2. Very important. Kyrus is for healing. You need this because we're running dehydration. I'll get into the invos in a second. This is going to be our primary healing. And BGS is for ability to respec over Bone Dagger. It's a bit better than Bone Dagger. You also get to whack core with it. It's a core whack weapon. So BGS is a bit better. If you are hella poor and you have fucking nothing, sell it and get a Bone Dagger. It's fine. Like you can still finish the raid with a Bone Dagger. It's fine. This is a lot better though for only 19 mil. Let's talk invocations. Invocations have gotten a lot easier. Let me show you what I would run. We have the timer turned on. Ooh, scary. But it's my first 500, Gnomonkey. I'm scared. I'm scared. You're going to clear time easily. Easily. You have to not AFK between rooms, and we have to keep going clicking the bosses. As long as you click the bosses, it doesn't matter if you miss every single spec. It doesn't matter if you noodle a lot. You're going to clear time every single time, even with this terrible, terrible gear. The raid has gotten a lot faster since before the update, so you can consistently run the timer. Because we're running the timer, and because we're running Overlords, which also became much easier post-update, these have no defense, so it costs you maybe 20 seconds total to turn this on. Because it costs you basically nothing to turn on Overlords, we get to turn off Double Trouble. No Double Trouble. No Double Trouble is good, because Double Trouble is scary. Now, Double Trouble is not that hard to deal with, but you just don't need to deal with it. So if you're going for your first Fang kit, or if you're going for monies and you just like don't want to deal with it, you want to brain off, Double Trouble makes Akkha much, much more dangerous, and you have to be careful with it. You don't need it on though. You don't need it on these days. There's no reason to turn it off. And as a bonus, I'll throw this one in for free. You get to turn off Jungle Japes. You hate those monkey bananas, you keep tripping on them in front of the boulders, get to turn it off. Lucky you. Lucky day. One thing with the gear I did not mention. Now, this is sacrilege. Everybody's like, you've got to use a magus with your shadow. It's 4 max hits. 4 max hits. 4? Oh, that must be a tremendous DPS increase over Lightbearer. It's not. It's not. If you have even a moderately decent spec weapon, a Voidwaker, a ZCP is tremendously better than Voidwaker if you have that. The DPS difference from Lightbearer is going to be equal, if not better, than Magus. Okay? Fuck Altor Switch. Fuck Magus Switch. You've just saved yourself a couple 100 mil. Aren't you happy? This thing is very cheap. You don't need it. Skip it. If you saw the Fasani guide before this, if you just watched that, it's the same argument. We don't do very good DPS with our main hand weapon. Spec DPS is really good in the raid. Lightbearer is really good in the raid. You don't need Magus. You don't need Altor unless you're running overly draining, and you don't have to run that. You don't have to. It's free. Very basic, simple setup. Very cheap stuff. Mixed Tide is going to be equal to Bandos and DPS. Almost the exact same. So because you don't take chip damage at all in any of the rooms anymore, not even Baba, it don't matter. It don't matter. You don't even need Bandos. Skip it. Mixed Tide is good. Mixed Tide lets you hybrid for ranged and save slots and bring more prayer. That's the idea. Let's send a run. We're going to easily beat 40 minutes, and it's going to be completely no prayer flicking at all whatsoever. Are we ready? Okay. Regen as a pre-pot. Always good to pre-pot at the very least, even if you're not bringing it, because as a pre-pot is really nice. And then both your divines. Divine super combat, divine ranging. Okay, let's do it. Don't get 6 hour logged out of your ToA. That would suck. I'm so excited for my first Fang kit. Let's go, Vike. Let's go. Easy. Okay, so first things first. When you enter Monkey Room, you're always, doesn't matter what setup you're running, what you're doing, you want your range gear on. Always. We're going to be camping our range gear and swapping to the other styles. They actually reduced the health of these monkeys with the last update. So the shamans have a bit less health and the cursed baboons have a bit less health. So you can actually one-shot the cursed baboons with a blowpipe now, which is really nice. I forgot to grab hammer. Let me go get that. I should still make it. Barely. Okay. When you're in this room, what you want to do is pray against the primary thing hitting you. So in that case, it was the rangers. After this, it's going to spawn a set of rangers again, so range pray goes on, right? So you're just dynamically changing your prayers as the next set spawn, and then praying melee as a default. Because the thralls hit you. Oh no, I took some damage. Luckily for me, I can fix that. Bloodpipe specs are really strong. They're guaranteed hits. So you can just get any health back that you lose at any point. You do not want to Kyrus in this room. It's so bad to waste that much prayer in this room, and it's so unnecessary. We're almost done. Okay, and that's it. That's the monkey room. It's not bad. I ended with 90 health. That's ideal. Perfect. Let's go grab this guy. There we go. If you're at the end of the room and you've taken enough damage down to like 50, you can always Kyrus poke a couple of the monkeys, get a bit of health back. Ideally, if you have over 80 health, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Especially if you have Blood Fury. Like, it's completely irrelevant. Oh yeah, I'm not flicking. Sorry. It's like really hard to force myself to not flick. Always awkward. Okay, when the monkeys pop up, I'm going to swap to Circle. Circle has pretty long range, and it doesn't matter what you use, it'll one-tick them. So you can just do this. Just like that. Don't forget your death charge like I did. That's sad. You hate to see it. Unlucky. I'm going to move down to this boulder. Okay. Accurate first time experience? Yeah, real. Coffins. Oh yeah, so the coffins, you can use them to block one hit each without them breaking open still. Like, they haven't changed that, and it still doesn't hurt you at all. So you can always use the coffins instead of the rocks literally the whole time if you want to. I'll show it. And you can also stand up to one tile off of it, so you could stand here. No damage, and it hits it for 30. It doesn't even break it open. Make sure you're looking out for the gap. If you're ever sitting on a rock in the middle, just keep in mind that I could send you in the gap. Cool. I'm just going to reset my super combat. People in my chat were asking why not sip regular ranging pot like you used to. You can see my divine ranging just ran out. So, like, the rooms are so much faster, you don't even really need to do that. Like, it still is fine. You can use a divine ranging, and it'll get its full effect. Explain the line. If you get to these yellow tiles, and you kill a boulder as it's touching you and begin running as it's touching you, you'll make it. That's the idea with that. Okay, we're gonna get one more Void Waker here. I've got my Sandfew. Let's exit the room. Perfect. I was just gonna go to the sarcophagus if I didn't kill it there. Oh, get my Sandfew. Don't forget. So I used one Sandfew for Monkey Room plus Baba. Plenty fine. Don't be worried about using your fucking Sandfew liberally. Like, it doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't. Oh, I forgot to use my Surge Pod in there too, so that means I'll probably get 2 uses of it at Kephri here. Totally fine. It's just to give us a little bit of extra Void Waker. This room isn't any different. Typical puzzle solver. Very simple. Heat Drunk could probably cut the whole room, but then one guy will be mad in the comments, so maybe don't. I don't know how to do the puzzle room, but I want to do a 500. I'm cutting the room. Thank God we're off the air. Oh. Oh, I hate the noobs watching this video, dude. Like, it actually pisses me off how newbie they are. Okay, here we go. Not cutting that. Oh, shit. Okay, entering Kephri. You're just going to spam Void Wakers. BGS is worse than Void Waker if you have it, so just spam Void Waker. Totally fine. We can sip a Surge Pot right at the beginning of the room. Just spam it. And we're going to put our first line right here. So what I'm going to do is actually kill the spitting before the melee scarab gets all the way around. Fun fact. Your best in slot in this room, or at least in most setups, is the Kyrus on every single ad in this room. Because they have so little defense and it maxes so high, it's a really, really good option. It beats Fang tremendously. It's like 30% better than Fang. No flick reminder? We got this. We got this. I can do it. So we're just going to poke him. Okay, this really sucks if he makes it. We're good. So now we're just going to pray melee. So if he ever does make it, just be ready on the Kyrus and just keep poking him. It's very rare you're not going to kill him that fast. We've got Blood Fury as well if it's really close. If you take like a big 40 from the soldier, it's fine because you're going to heal it back. There you go. You also Kyrus heal off clicking them, or off killing them, so that's nice too. I'm being told, I got news flash that if you have really shitty melee gear, you probably just want to use your shadow. Okay? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Max melee Kyrus Bis, yes. So what you can do then is as you're killing the spitting with a shadow, you can start running away from the soldier as it comes up to you and just keep casting at the spitting. That works really well. You can just do that. I like to hang out over here because if you stand right here, like on this line, the spitting can't reach you, but you can reach it. So you don't take any damage from it. Just kind of nice. You can just kill it. Cool. And then we'll kill the melee. Don't flick. It's so hard not to flick, man. It's so hard. I promise you don't need to flick at all through the entire run. So as you're killing the spitting, maybe use Kyrus for a second, switch into Shadow when it's looking close, and then be able to move, avoid things, right? Yes. Shadow's a good option for utility. I camp Shadow for melee and arcane? Totally valid. You probably want to use a Shadow that whole phase anyways. You get to avoid all the spitting damage. You get to just deal with the arcane even while it's jumping around. It's just kind of nice. I saved the guide, guys. I saved the guide. Let's go. All right, I used another Sandview on Kephri. All right, I used another Sandview. We're still good. Okay, sometimes when you get here, Zebak's gonna be level 4. It's a 1 in 6. It's a 1 in 6. Fairly rare. If you get a level 4 Zebak, it sucks. Unlucky. We cry. Because level 4 Zebak attacks really fast, and it makes Warden even harder. Okay? So that sucks when that happens. Didn't happen to me here. But it does happen. If it does happen, don't reset. It's still fine. It just sucks. It just sucks. Unlucky. This is why we do Zebak before Akkha, because we don't want him to be level 4. Level 4 sucks. It's really, really bad. I bet the people watching this aren't even good enough to do this puzzle. I bet they would do all 4 waterfalls.
No, okay, but I actually explained this one because people actually...
You can't tell me to do it after I finish the puzzle. It's too late. Can you reset? I blinked. No! Okay, we're going into Zebak. So just throw your mage gear on, get your Circle on, salt up, and go in. Easy. Doesn't matter what you're wearing for the spec. It doesn't matter what you're praying. We hit a 16. Cool. Pretty good spec. That's going to increase our accuracy quite a bit. When I tested this last run, I actually used no prayer whatsoever, and I didn't flick at all. So we'll see how it goes this time. I also only landed a 3 Circle. So we'll see if we need any prayer this time. I think typically you're not going to need it. We'll see, we'll see. Want to keep in mind when you're hitting the jugs, it has a really slow travel time with the shadow. So you want to hit it pretty early. If you're used to ranging it, you want to hit it early. Why doesn't gear matter for spec? I don't know. It just doesn't. It's one of those things that is the way that it is, you know? Whenever you're doing this room, I try to always stand in this spot, or at least in this area, because you want to be on the left side for the first barricade like I just did. That always has a solve right here. And also, if blood spawns spawn over here, you're guaranteed safe from them standing here. See that? So some of these are going to get lost. See, that one's wandering the other way. The ones that do find me are going to die the instant they touch my character. They're gone. So if you stand here, you're totally safe from those. Kind of nice. Now, if they spawn next to you, it's annoying. That's okay, though. You can deal with that. Pretty easy waves. Shadow's noodling a lot this time. I think we might use 1 dose. That's okay. One thing you can do as well is throw in some Voidwaker specs. And the way you spec safely at Zebak is just make sure you step at least 2 tiles away from him as soon as you do the spec. Because if you're this far away, or on the sides of him, the melee attack misses, and it doesn't hit you. If he melees you, it'll probably just kill you, so don't get meleeed. This is how you safely spec. You would do this. Just like that. You could also do it from the sides, like spec here, instantly step away. That works too. Yeah, we definitely need a dose. I guess I did pretty good damage last time. We'll take it. We'll take it. Wave skip? I don't think wave skip is usually worth doing, very rarely. When you have a wave that's like the front of Zebak and then a wave that's like back here, it can be kind of nice to just skip it. The way you do a wave skip is mark the true tile in the waves, hold shift, right click, mark them. And then when it's touching your character, the true tiles, which are a little bit ahead of the wave, you need to step away from the waves, 1 tile, so it keeps hugging your character, right? Step away from the wave and then run straight through it. You need to be moving away or towards the wave before you run through it for it to work. If you just run straight through it willy-nilly from standing there, it won't work. It's very weird. Let's give him a spec. See how he bit? And it missed. That's why. Because I got out of his range. I wave skip level 4. Wave skip comes in a lot more in level 4. Level 4 is pretty rare, though. It won't come up that often. I think we're going to get through the room without another dose. Looks like it. Okay, so I didn't prayer flick at all. I used a single dose in that room. Big part of that is the prayer regen. Prayer regen is super nice. You can now do this puzzle with 85 mining and a rune pick. They made it a lot easier. I believe at 85, if you're even standing next to it, you don't have to click on green. Like, you'll still make it with a D pick, so. Much easier than it used to be. Okay, we're going into Akkha. We're going to do butterfly. Let me quick change my tiles. These red tiles are going to come in handy later. I use them to transition to the next quadrant. They're important. I'm going to wait for Akkha to step away. Ideally, enter this room as fast as possible, so Akka's standing over here. If you give him time to walk around, he'll cause problems like this. So now he's in a bad position. So let me run around him, get him back in a good position. I always want to start from this bottom left quadrant. You don't want to get meleeed by Zebak because... By Zebak? You don't want to get meleeed by Akkha. You definitely don't want to get meleeed by Zebak. You don't want to get meleeed by Akkha because if he melees you, he's guaranteed to change styles after the special. So you want to avoid that like the plague. Like, it's really, really bad to get meleeed. As long as you do this properly with Butterfly, which is just to start it, you just wait for him to be a tile away and then click to the next tile. I have a whole guide on Butterfly. That's all you do. As long as you Butterfly properly the whole time, he will stay this color. You'll never have to do anything except Butterfly. It's 100% consistent now. Now, you can actually do this without Butterfly. It's totally doable. But I'd highly recommend learning it. It's going to be a lot less prayer use, and it's going to make the room a lot simpler overall. Like, it's a harder tech that makes the room easier, if that makes any sense. That is so unfortunate. Okay. Show you how to deal with this. Sometimes he just stalls in a really bad spot. It happens. And this will probably happen to you in your first run as well. That's okay. So, prayer up. Hit the Curious. When he switches, he's going to change to ranged. There you go. Now we can still mage. Luckily for Simon Says, I got the shadow up, so I'm going to start hitting this one. And I don't have double trouble, so this is completely free. What you want to do is stand next to him, but then fake him out. So right before he's going to attack, step away. So this is how you avoid keep back. You don't have to do this perfectly. Just basically you want to be away from him right before he melees. Okay. Now we're going to have to be forced to melee because he's mage style. So now I'm just going to pray melee until you see his animation begin and then pray mage. It's a 3-tick window. So it's melee, melee for another tick, and then mage like that. Right? So you have 2-tick window to get the other prayer on. And we've already dealt with it. You see how little chip damage it is compared to how it used to be? Totally manageable if you fuck up. So don't worry about it. So now we're just going to get back into Butterfly, and he's going to stop switching because he won't melee us again. One of the things I always do is do a melee hit standing from just below the icon, because that lets you tick perfect go to the bottom of Butterfly and instantly start. You don't even have to think about it. I forgot to mention the red tiles as well because so much chaos was happening. Unfortunate. My red tiles are just, you're going to do a hit from the opposite side of the shadow. So right here, right? So when you're done with Akkha and you want to transition to the next quadrant, you'll do a cast from here. And then you're going to click to that red tile. And I'll show you in a second. You're going to click to that red tile, do one more cast, and then run down and cast again. It's tick perfect and it puts you right in cycle. No thought required. And that works diagonally as well. So let's say you finish this quadrant up here. If you then do a cast from here, move to here, do a cast, and then move down to here, tick perfect, don't have to worry about anything. So these red tiles just work. So see, you move here, do a cast. And of course he does that. But he would have been run one tile below us, and he wouldn't have hit us. He would have just instantly started Butterfly. That's a lot more ideal with this special. When he Sometimes he does his special and he stops in a really bad spot. That's a much better spot, though. Like, you can just wait for him to get a bit closer and then start. And we can see I've Cuirassed. I've used a little bit of Prayer. But we're still going to have 4 restore after this room. Because I'm going to sip probably 1 more dose, if that. Yeah, I'll sip 1 more. For come phase. And I've still got 4 restore for Warden. Which is unlimited. Very much so unlimited. I like to just spam Fang specs. If you're not comfortable with this phase, even though it's a lot easier, you can save spec for a Cuirass just to be safe. Or if you're like lower health, like let's say you're going to this phase with like under 50 health, something like that, you probably want to Cuirass or be ready to Cuirass. So maybe don't spam Fang specs, but you can see it's a lot more manageable than it used to be. It really shouldn't be a problem. There you go. No problem. No damage taken. And that was with a kind of a crusty Akkha, like forced to take a melee hit, forced to deal with it. Not really a big deal. Not really a big deal. Okay. So we're going on to Warden. What I like to do is bank my Fang. The Fang doesn't have any use here. So you can just get rid of it and grab another power. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab Salt and we're going to grab Adren. I'm going to hit Salt. And starting P1, all I'm going to do, Summon a Thrall, I'm going to do 3 specs with Void Waker. Okay? 1, sip your Surge Bot. 2, 3. And now we're going to go Shadow. And now we're just going to hang out over here. I don't need to flick. It is pointless because we have unlimited prayer. Now, it's possible you beat this. In my 2 practice runs, I beat the second set of orbs every time. If you get a little unlucky, you'll get a second set of orbs. You are astronomically unlucky if you see a 3rd set of orbs. That's never going to happen. Okay? So, what we're going to do, these are going to hit us. And because we're over 75 health, we're going to be fine. And then, we're going to Cuirass. Easy peasy. Looks like we're going to beat it. What you can do to increase the odds is run over here after those UFOs. We might actually not beat it because we splashed a lot. We'll see. If you stand on this corner, your shadow lands faster, so you might be able to dodge. Kind of nice. We did actually only get 1 set. Seems like most common is you get one set of orbs. All right. You want to make sure you move your DDS into position for this phase. And again, we're just camping Mystic Vigor this whole time, so you use no prayer. Makes it very, very easy. And we're going to have a Dren still from P1, so we're going to use that to spam DDS. All right, cool. Five specs into a BGS whack. Make sure you death charge. You actually can get spec off these. When they suck back in, it gives it to you. And summon a range thrall. This is going to be the only thing that's slower from our setup, is that we're blowpiping this, which sucks. It does suck. But it's a single phase of the entire raid. That's fine. It's a little bit slower. You can see it's not bad, though. It works okay. Make sure we put our DDS in position. If you stand next to the skulls, you're safe. Up to 2 tiles away from them in any cardinal direction, you're safe. Now, ideally, we want to try to get through this without touching our Cuirass, because if we make it to P3, we can actually just heal up with the skulls. So we don't have to waste spec on that, which is super nice. Sip a Dren, I forgot to. It's okay. And it doesn't really matter what you do at this point. It just needs a couple more DDS specs. We're going to get 8 hits here. There you go. 8th hit is a BGS. Cool. Summon Mage Thrall. And we're going to try to get through this without Kira saying, if you have to, you have to. Remember, they max 10, these skulls, so if you're ever close to that health, you need to heal up. Luckily with Shadow, this phase will be real fast, so we should be okay. Cool, perfect. And we're just going to finish this with Wax now. So why aren't we Kirasing? What is the reason for that? Because the skulls on P3 give you health back when you've Kiras them. So we don't need to. You get to save a bunch of spec energy, get to save a bunch of prayer. It's really, really nice. Now we're still Adrend, so I'm just going to immediately run up. I was going to say Void Waker. We're actually going to Circle. So give him a Circle. 9. Nice. Now I'm going to Void Waker. We'll sip our bathwater, which is my prayer regen, and swap back to Shadow. Now, if you're a little nervous about fucking something up, it's totally fine to Kiras before this. I'm just going to show you can heal back to full without Kiras specking. Okay, skulls are coming up at 80% here. Should be one more cast. There you go. So just throw on your Kiras. Make sure you have prayer, because it actually does take prayer. And I'm going to do a skull skip. If this is your first run, you definitely don't have to. But if you're after money, it is worth doing a skull skip. It's going to increase your purple chance a lot. So it is very, very worth doing. If you're just after the Fang kit, you can easily just poke them all with Kiras. No biggie. Totally fine. One thing to keep in mind is that Kiras, if you are full health, you don't want to keep using it because it does drain prayer even if you're overhealed. So even if it's not giving you any health, it still drains prayer like it's healing you. So once you get back to full health with it, make sure you stop using it. Like start whacking with Void Waker instead or something like that. It's 5 prayer, a skull. Yeah, so it's not nothing. Why does skull skipping increase purple chance? Because his health gets decreased by the skulls hitting him. It does 5% of his health. So if you don't do the skulls properly, you get to do the damage instead, and he's a huge amount of points. So he's a huge amount of the total loot. Okay, we're 102 now. I'm not going to Kiras anymore. We're going to stop doing that. You just resalt so we don't have to think about it. Now, through this whole run, I've forgotten to use my Surge Pot. It doesn't really matter where you use it. Anything you'd be Void Wakering, it's fine. Could have used it on Zebak. Could have used it at Baba. I totally forgot. And I probably could have used a second dose at Kephri even. So, even though I'm stupid and didn't use the whole thing, you should use the whole thing. It's very, very worth. And as long as you're using it to get more Void Waker in, it's worth using. It's not super important where you use it. It's just important that it gets used. So now I'm just whacking with Void Waker. Okay, let's switch. Sip our Sparadrin. Probably would have been better to save some spec for last phase, but this is okay. I'm going to sip Surge now because you basically want to sip Surge. The important thing with the Surge is to make sure you save a dose for P4. That's the only time it really matters that you have a dose left, is to use it on P4, because that's like the most important time to have spec energy. Both for Kiras if you're new, or for doing DPS specs. There we go. That's all the skulls dealt with. Tell them how to skull skip. Oh yeah. You're standing on the red tiles that I'm running to, and you're just looking for the explosion. So as soon as you see those orange particles from the skulls, that's when you click. It's as simple as that. It's very, very easy timing. Okay, normally I stand far away in P4, but I want to be ready to spec immediately, because I'm just going to spam Void Wakers at this guy. Same thing as Akkha. If you have not done a 500, you want to save energy for Kiris. But if you're pretty experienced and you're getting better, you can send at least a couple Void Wakers. Maybe don't send your whole spec bar like I just did, but at least send some. Big thing with the lightning, and I explained it in the last 500, but I'll explain it again. It's a 6-tick cycle on these shadows that appear, right? So it's 3 ticks without them. So 3 ticks of them appearing, and then 3 ticks of them striking. So it's like appear, 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 strike, strike, strike. So I'm gonna stop hitting a second, I'm nuking. We didn't get to last row. So it goes appear, 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 strike, strike, strike. So you can actually full dodge all of these by immediately stepping on the first shadow. So that's the first one that appeared. Step on it as it strikes. Do it again here. That dodges everything. It dodges the Baba Boulder, and it dodges all of the lightning every single time you do it. So that's really all you have to do last row a really long time. Now, sometimes you get unlucky, like that kind of. Like you get a pattern that's really annoying and is going to force you to get hit. Here's another example. So it's not like guaranteed 100% safe, but generally it's fairly safe, and you can do it a long, long time. All right, that's the idea. With all the chatting, with a little bit of in-between room, we did it in 37 minutes. Totally fine. And I had almost 2 full Sandfew left over. No flicking, and a Kiris used on Akkha because I messed up. Absolutely no problem with prayer. You can flick a little bit, like you know how to flick offensive prayers. Then you could just start adding in more switches. Things like range switches, more melee switches, things like that. But proof of concept, you don't need to do any flicking for a 500. It's completely free. As long as you have a shadow, completely, utterly free these days. Now, do we get loot? We don't, dude. We don't. I'm crying. That's terrible. Well, your chest will at least have a Fang Kit in there if it's your first time. There's that. There's that. It'll probably look as bad as mine, though, because ToA loot sucks. Unlucky. You can do these runs fairly easily. Amazing for a shadow rebuild for making money. If you're like, how do I use a shadow to make money? This is how you do it. ToA is still really good, even with the reduced purple value. Like, ToA is still very good. And you can run these 500s without much work at all. Like, they're very simple to run. And if you're looking to do your first Fang Kit, this setup doesn't require any flicking. It's completely brain dead. These 2 Sandfews could have been spent doing Akkha and just praying correctly against keepback and just Kirising any mistakes, any damage taken. This is enough for like 3 more Kirises in Akkha if I wanted to. It's basically no tech needed. Like, that's how free it is these days. It's crazy how much 500s have changed. Oh, I've seen people ask about Warhammer. Warhammer is terabad, especially with a shadow. The only reason to run a hammer is because you're ranging a lot of the bosses. Then it's okay on Warden. Hammer basically can't land on Zebak. It's dog. And shadow does not need defense drain to work properly. A lot of people like that have just gotten a shadow don't know that. This doesn't interact with defense whatsoever. It interacts with magic level, right? So you don't need to drain things defense that we're maging. That's why we brought the Circle. That's why we're draining mage level and not defense, because accuracy is based on the mage level, not on the defense. So hammer is not worth bringing at all. It is trash. I would bring a bone dagger over a hammer, even if you had a hammer. If you're looking to do your Fang Kit and you don't have a shadow, you don't have the megas, totally okay. I have a guide on how to do it without Kiris and without any megas. Like, you don't need a lot of anything to get a Fang Kit these days. You really don't. So you can check that guide if you want that. If you're like, I just want my Fang Kit, I don't have all this money, I have a guide for that too. Is that it? Is that the meat and potatoes? I think we got it. Would be a better upgrade from Mixed Hide. The typical upgrade for Mixed Hide would be adding in Bandos and then adding in Masori for your range switch. So that's going to make your P2 a lot faster when you're using a blowpipe and Masori. It's kind of slow when you're using Mixed Hide because the blowpipe's so inaccurate, your minimum hit is so much lower than it would be. So getting Masori for that is kind of nice. That's like your typical upgrade is Bandos and then dropping 2 slots to add Masori. GN to YouTube. Have a good night. Leave a like, subscribe, all those things. All right? See ya! Bye! Mwah!